Have you ever felt like your life was cursed or that you were destined for suffering and hardship? Or perhaps you've wondered why some people seem to be more blessed than others? Well, today, we're going to explore the life of a man from the Bible who dared to ask God for a blessing, and the remarkable story of how his life was transformed. His name was Jabez, and his story is found in just 2 verses in the book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 4, verses 9 and 10. Despite the brevity of his account, Jabez's life and prayer have inspired countless people throughout history to seek God's blessings and favor. You might be wondering, who was this Jabez, and why is his story so significant? Well, let's dive into the biblical narrative and uncover the powerful lessons we can learn from this man who dared to ask God for something extraordinary. In the Bible, names often carried deep significance, revealing important details about a person's character, circumstances, or divine purpose. Jabez's name, which means he causes pain or he makes sorrowful, hints at the difficulties he likely faced from birth. The biblical account tells us that Jabez's mother named him this because she bore him in pain. While the specifics are not provided, we can infer that Jabez's birth was particularly difficult or traumatic for his mother, leading her to give him a name that reflected her anguish. Despite this inauspicious beginning, Jabez's life was not defined by his name or the circumstances surrounding his birth. Instead, he chose to rise above his challenges and actively seek God's favor and blessings. Now Jabez was more honorable than his brothers, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, "Because I bore him in pain." And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, "Oh, that you would bless me indeed, and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain." So God granted him what he requested. From these verses, we learn that Jabez was considered more honorable than his brothers, suggesting that he possessed a remarkable character and integrity despite his challenging beginnings. While the details of Jabez's life are scarce in the biblical narrative, we can glean some insights from the context provided. He was likely part of the tribe of Judah, as the surrounding verses mention various descendants and families within that tribe. It's worth noting that the book of 1 Chronicles was written after the Israelites had returned from Babylonian exile, serving as a historical record and a reminder of God's faithfulness to his people. The inclusion of Jabez's story, though brief, underscores its significance and the enduring impact of his prayer and faith. Although the Bible doesn't provide many specifics about the challenges Jabez faced, we can make some reasonable inferences based on the context and cultural norms of the time. First and foremost, Jabez carried the burden of his name, which was a constant reminder of the pain and sorrow associated with his birth. In ancient cultures, names held great significance and could shape a person's identity and destiny. Jabez's name may have been a source of ridicule, shame, or low expectations from those around him. Additionally, as a member of the tribe of Judah, Jabez likely faced the struggles and hardships that accompanied the Israelites' journey and settlement in the Promised Land. The book of Joshua and Judges chronicles the battles, conflicts, and adversities the Israelites encountered as they sought to establish themselves in Canaan. Jabez may have experienced the challenges of warfare, famine, or displacement as the Israelites fought to claim their inheritance. Moreover, the period recorded in 1 Chronicles was marked by cycles of disobedience, oppression, and deliverance, as the Israelites repeatedly turned away from God and faced the consequences of their actions. Despite these potential challenges, Jabez is described as more honorable than his brothers, suggesting that he possessed a remarkable character and integrity that set him apart. It's possible that he faced opposition, rejection, or lack of support from those closest to him, yet he remained steadfast in his faith and commitment to God. Another challenge Jabez may have faced was the limitation of resources or opportunities. In his prayer, he asks God to enlarge my territory, which could imply that he felt constrained or lacked the means to flourish and achieve his full potential. Furthermore, Jabez's request for God to keep me from evil indicates that he was aware of the ever-present dangers and temptations that could lead him astray. In a world filled with idolatry, immorality, and spiritual darkness, Jabez recognized the need for divine protection and guidance. Despite the challenges and adversities he likely encountered, Jabez's story reminds us that our circumstances do not have to define us. His unwavering faith and bold prayer paved the way for God's blessings and favor to transform his life. At the heart of Jabez's story lies his audacious prayer, a bold request that defied the limitations imposed by his name and circumstances. In these few verses, we find a powerful example of how to approach God with faith, humility, and persistence. The prayer itself is a masterclass in seeking God's blessings and favor. "Oh, that you would bless me indeed, and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain." By asking God to keep him from evil, Jabez demonstrates a humble recognition of his own weaknesses and a desire to remain faithful to God's ways. He doesn't want his life to be a source of pain or sorrow for others, as his name might suggest. Instead, he longs to be a vessel of blessing and joy. This part of the prayer reminds us of the ongoing spiritual battle we face and the importance of guarding our hearts and minds against the influence of evil. It encourages us to rely on God's protection and guidance as we navigate the challenges and temptations of life. What makes Jabez's prayer truly audacious is not just the specific requests he makes, but the boldness and confidence with which he approaches God. In a world where many people struggled with doubt, fear, and a lack of faith, Jabez dared to ask God for something extraordinary. His prayer reflects an unwavering belief in God's power, goodness, and willingness to bless those who seek him wholeheartedly. Jabez didn't approach God with timidity or hesitation, he came with bold expectation, knowing that his requests aligned with God's desires for his people. Moreover, Jabez's prayer demonstrates a willingness to step out of his comfort zone and embrace a greater vision for his life. He wasn't content with settling for the status quo or accepting the limitations imposed by his name or circumstances. Instead, he dared to dream bigger and ask God for more. After presenting his audacious prayer, the Bible simply states, "So God granted him what he requested." These few words hold immense power and significance, revealing the remarkable outcome of Jabez's faith and persistence. In a world where many prayers seem to go unanswered and blessings can feel elusive, Jabez's story stands as a testament to the faithfulness of God and the power of believing prayer. God not only heard Jabez's request, but granted him precisely what he asked for in full. While the specific details of how God's blessings manifested in Jabez's life are not provided, we can imagine the profound impact they must have had. An enlarged territory could have brought him increased resources, influence, and opportunities to make a difference. God's hand being with him would have provided divine guidance, protection, and favor in all his endeavors. Perhaps most significantly, Jabez's request to be kept from evil and not cause pain would have allowed him to live a life marked by righteousness, integrity, and a positive impact on those around him. Rather than being defined by the sorrow and pain associated with his name, Jabez would have been a source of joy, blessing, and hope for others. The fact that Jabez's prayer was granted in its entirety speaks volumes about his faith and the depth of his relationship with God. It's a powerful reminder that when we come to God with humble boldness, aligning our desires with His will, He is faithful to answer according to His perfect plan and timing. Jabez's story also teaches us the importance of perseverance in prayer. While we don't know the specific circumstances surrounding his prayer, it's likely that Jabez had been praying and seeking God's blessings for some time before this pivotal moment. His audacious request may have been the culmination of years of faithful petitioning and unwavering trust in God's goodness. The remarkable result of Jabez's prayer should inspire us to approach God with the same level of faith, boldness, and persistence. It reminds us that our God is a God of abundance, who delights in blessing His children beyond our wildest dreams. The story of Jabez, though brief, carries profound lessons and inspiration for all who seek to unlock a blessed life. From his humble beginnings and challenging circumstances, Jabez emerged as a man of remarkable faith and audacity, daring to ask God for something extraordinary. His prayer, a masterclass in seeking God's blessings and favor, teaches us the importance of humility, persistence, and aligning our desires with God's will. Jabez didn't settle for a small, limited existence. He dared to dream bigger and ask God for more. The remarkable result of God granting Jabez's request in its entirety serves as a powerful testament to the faithfulness of our Heavenly Father and the power of believing prayer. It reminds us that when we come to God with humble boldness, He is faithful to answer according to His perfect plan and timing. As we reflect on Jabez's story, may we be inspired to approach God with the same level of faith, boldness, and persistence. May we dare to dream bigger dreams, ask for greater blessings, and trust that our God is a God of abundance who delights in blessing His children beyond our wildest dreams. Whether you're facing challenges, limitations, or a sense of being stuck in life, remember the story of Jabez, a man who dared to ask God for more and experience the boundless blessings that come from a life of unwavering faith and obedience. So, let us boldly approach the throne of grace, confident in the knowledge that our God is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3 verse 20.